So section 1.2 is simplifying radicals. Um, we're reviewing 8th grade. So this was learned in 8th grade, but you need it for 10th grade. So we're doing a quick review, just 10 questions. When you simplify radicals, it's really helpful if you have your perfect squares memorized. We're not going to really use perfect cubes. But if you know your perfect squares like 4, 9, 16, 25, that would be helpful. And a perfect square just means if you multiply two numbers together, like 4 times 4 is 16. 4 squared is 16. 16 is a perfect square because a number squared equals that. You're going to break down radicals. Here's some steps to that. Basically, you're trying to get prime numbers, prime factorization, and then you'll look for pairs of numbers, perfect squares. But we'll get into that in the problem. I just want to review where radicals kind of come from. So it started with a square, and that's why they're called square roots. As you get into farther math, you're going to call a square root a radical. Okay, so a square root looks like this. It's also called a radical. If you put a number underneath it, that's called the radicand. That's this part. That's the number you break down. So the square root of 4 is equal to 2 because 2 times 2, or 2 squared, equals 4. All right, let's go back to the square part. So it's called the square root because someone once had a square. And they know, what do we know about squares? The sides are the same, right? So if this side is 4 and this side is 4, we want to find the area of that. We want to find out how much space is inside that square. So to find the area, you take the side times the other side. 4 times 4, also 4 squared, which is 16. So the square root part came from going the other way. What if I have a square and I know that the area is, let's say, 36? How am I going to find the side lengths? Well, we do this thing called the square root. That's why we call it a square root. So the square root of 36 is equal to 6, because 6 times 6, or 6 squared, equals 36. So if the area of the square is 36, my side lengths are 6. So square roots and squares are opposite operations. We use them together, and that's what you're going to do in this section.